Work. Today's topic, female sex drive and promiscuity. This is a fascinating topic, as are many when we're talking about the female, because the human female is extremely crooked. And I mean that in the sense that they're not direct with very much. They're rarely linear, they're rarely logical. So rather than rail against what they are not and get mad at them for not being like us or like we claim to be, we have to accept what they really are and try to understand it. So when I say that they're crooked, what I mean is this: you have a female who might engage in sex not for sex, but for bonding. It's not direct. A male might engage in sex solely for the sex. So, just to start with, we have to understand that the definition of sex itself can mean many things in the female mind. She might say sex, but she might mean lovemaking. She might mean bonding. She might say sex, but she might mean many things. She might mean money. There are different values that she may be exchanging in the sexual process. And what we have to know for sure is that sex is a bargaining tool for a female. You heard me? They use their sex like men use money. They use their sex as a power over you mostly. And I want to alert you all over the fact that most women that you deal with who give you major challenges in terms of having intercourse, but they eventually do it, those are the ones playing head games such that they can rule over you. I promise you. Because here's the thing. If she is truly interested in you and likes you and wants to stick with you, she could give you the intercourse off rip. You heard me? When they want to play with it and play games and say yes, yes, no, yes, yes, maybe, no, and do all of that, you should know that there's a plan going on. And in fact, it might not even be a plan. It might be subconscious wiring. Acknowledge Tony writes, "Peace of the Saints. What are your thoughts on double dates?" If that's something that you want to do, just remember too many things on this planet Earth and this human experience we do because of obligation. We do because of guilt. We do because of others having suggestions. We do things because we don't have goals. So as long as you're doing something because of it benefiting you or you having thought it out or it aligns with your goals, there's no reason not to. If I have a good friend and I enjoy the gentleman's company and we have two floozies and we want to go out and have a good time, there's no reason not to. You see, but also know that this will impact the dynamic with the females, depending on if they know one another. This might impact your ability to, slay them and play them. So you need to map those things out. And of course, you should be aware of female jealousy. I mean, it rarely fails. You even have situations where your woman gets jealous of your mother or your mother gets jealous of your woman. This is the pettiness that you would observe in the female, especially when they've not been, conditioned and trained. Zachary, he writes, "What's good, sir? What does it mean to be one's self?" Great question. To be oneself first requires that you have a real sense of who you are. What do I stand for? I often like to put it in the context of if there were three things that you could represent, you'd be known for, what are those three things? And it should be a mix between what you already are and what you have been for a long time, and also what you would aspire to be. Not suggesting that you would change who you are, but rather bring out the best of who you are. So number one, know who you are, which requires introspection, looking within. Number two, to be yourself means you have to act that out on a consistent basis, which means that you cannot compromise. You see, we live in a world of compromise, but people compromise on the wrong things. They compromise on, their values. I remember one time I was in Philadelphia training for Teach for America, and it was a very shapely, good-looking, intelligent white chick I was pursuing. We had actually went to university together, but we didn't know we were at the same university at the same time. I invited her out on a date, and she said, "Hey, I'm actually busy tonight because I've agreed to go out with so-and-so, and these group of people are going to a club tonight. Do you want to come?" I say, "Sure thing." Come to find out they're going to a place called Woody's, which is a homosexual club. At that point, I had to say, "Hey, I'll catch you afterward." She was, "Oh, why is that?" I said, "That's not my kind of spot." She's like, "Yeah, but you'll be there with me." That's true, but that's not my kind of spot. Not somewhere I want to be found in. She says, "Well, what do you mean?" I say, "Well, sure, I might be in there. I'm not engaging in that kind of behavior, but wouldn't look right for me to be in there. I don't agree with anything going on there. She says, yeah, but you're there with a woman and you're not doing anything like them. So what does it matter? Very rarely do they realize the error of their thinking. But the point is to maintain who you are. Now, there are some times where you can make adjustments and you can adapt. But the truth of the matter is that to be oneself is to be oneself consistently all the time, and not to let others take you out of who you are. Sometimes you'll observe men when they start talking to women or they're around a lot of women, they'll start talking like women, speaking the ideas of women, or they'll start speaking in effeminate tones. This is them getting outside of themselves, and the folks on the internet call this losing masculine frame. Well, you're losing more than masculine frame. You're losing yourself, as it were. So being oneself is to know oneself and then to act on that on a consistent basis without compromising your core values ever for anyone or for any opportunity. Thank you for that question. World Era Comics writes, Peace of the Saints. What advice could you give to a young man missing many holidays with his family to achieve his prosperous vision? Well, number one, I don't know that that's necessary or appropriate or ideal. As you pursue your goals, you should also be enjoying and living life, or you could drop dead at any moment, and you don't want your time on earth to have been something you regret. There is a balance in all things. This is something I talk a lot about in Boss University. Those who want to become bosses certainly have to take sacrifices. I can't tell you how often I have to, just spend time alone so I can get work done. There's some women that are feminine enough to just be in your presence and they don't make too much noise. They clean up and tidy up, and they're a pleasure to be around. Then there are those other ones that have a loud energy. They require attention. They want to get maxed out, and you got to sit them on the sidelines. It gets like that. But you should always want to be a good family man if you have a good family. If your family's filled with dirt bags, which is possible, criminals, dishonest persons, fat persons, weirdos, yeah, then don't waste any time with them. Go ahead and work through Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all that good stuff. But if you love your family, they're good people, they support you on a continuous basis, then do invest that time in that relationship. Remember that I always advise you all to have goals in 3 areas: health, wealth, and relationships. Relationships does include your family. Relationships includes women you date, friendships, business contacts. Let none of those be neglected. He writes, at times I feel empty. Yes, we all experience that. And I think that unfortunately there's so many liars and so many people who don't want to feel vulnerable because they're busy being an alpha male, that they don't concede that there is a range of emotions and experiences that the human being goes through, whether they're male or female. Yes, you might feel empty sometimes. Now, really, when you say empty, empty is a metaphor, right? Empty is not describing a direct feeling. So you'd have to be more precise with that. But the point is, all of us, sometimes we feel up, sometimes we feel down, sometimes we feel this and that. Now, there's some feelings that you really shouldn't feel ever. And if you do, you want to get some proper help. Like, I remember I was having a conversation a couple weeks ago, and I was talking about the time that I was going to be just extraordinarily wealthy on one deal and how everything fell apart due to circumstance. I was like, you know what, that if I ever thought of taking myself out, that would have been the time. But it didn't even cross my mind because I've never lost my mind. You dig? But I think many people, it would have crossed their mind. And when something like that crossed your mind, you should know that your mind is feeble and you need some help. But otherwise, yes, we go through a range of emotions as human beings. He writes, happy Thanksgiving, grateful for your lessons. Absolutely. May I acknowledge Tony? He writes, if it is a bad sign for a female to have a high body count, absolutely. It's a very bad sign, to put it mildly. It is also a bad sign for a male to be inexperienced, aside from religion. Oh, is it also a bad sign for a male to be inexperienced? Well, that depends on the female, but let me advise you on this. If the female looks at the male as a leader, it's quite hard to lead someone if you don't know what you're doing. Even if you would look at the simple realities of partner dancing, like salsa dancing, ballroom dancing, the man is the leader. If you haven't taken more lessons than her, you can scarcely lead her. You can't lead her with any confidence. And I'll tell you a funny story. The female nature, as I said before, is crooked. So though they might claim they want you to lead them, when you lead them, that doesn't mean that they're going to submit and follow. It's comedy, isn't it? And so if you have enough confidence, and you might have confidence from experience, then you can utilize that to lead her effectively, even when she's putting up various forms of fight and combativeness. So yes, experience is a major advantage in all things, not only women. I highly recommend that one get experience. And I'm not speaking of sexual experience. The sexual experience with the female is the least of values. Only women who are promiscuous really want you to be sexually experienced. Here's a fact. To this day, I still don't really entirely understand the female body or what's going on or how to please them. And frankly, I don't care. I don't care at all. I have no interest in this in the least bit. And I've never dealt with a good woman who cared either. It's the women who have had excessive experience who are very concerned with busting a nut. For example, and this doesn't even correlate to age. Some people think they have fresh water just because the female is young. There was one model, and I do mean model, that I was dealing with. I was in my early 20s. I had a tech office in Cincinnati, and she was modeling one of the products that I was producing. After we finished the business affair, she wanted to spend a little bit of time. She was 19 at the time. She had the experience of a goddamn senior citizen. It's like she'd been around the world 2-3 times. And we were having a particular physical experience at my apartment. And she was saying, do this and do that and do this and do this simultaneously. And I was like, whoa, like Shorty is not only very experienced, but knows specifically how to get herself off. And you know what? This is not fun anymore. Though she's a gorgeous young lady, built wonderfully, has some very unique features that are hard to find. This is more of a burden. And when you're dealing with a woman with a high libido, you have a number of burdens on your hand. And my advice to the woman is to know that sex should never be a burden for a man. It should never be a goal-oriented process wherein the goal is him to get you off. And if you're a woman that has that kind of orientation, then this may have come from childhood trauma. This may have come from you experiencing sexual things and gratification at too young an age. Is something wrong is what I'm saying. And you have to get a guy who lines up with you, which will more than likely be a sexual pervert. The libido of the male and the female run opposite. I'm in good working order. You dig? I be ready to perform when it's game time. You dig? And even after the game is ended, after the fourth quarter, I'm like, let's play again. I'm ready. But the point is this: the females, their sex drive is starting to peak in their 30s. And I think that this makes sense in as much as their fertility is declining. And so they're trying to utilize the eggs that are still good while they have them. But a female should never, pressure a man to do certain things. And the ones that do are the ones you should be concerned with. Those are the ones that use sex toys, vibrators, etc. Their bodies are desensitized, and the experience itself means little. I will tell you something I learned from a gorgeous Colombian woman when I was 16 years old. And yes, I was trying to smash. I was 16 years old. As some of you might know, if you've read my book, The Black Box, which you can get at Amazon.com if you like a physical copy. If you want a low-cost ebook, you can get it at thesassin.com, THESASN.com. I don't know if I have this story I'm about to tell in The Black Box, but this is during that period of life. As you all would know, I left high school at age 16. I tested out. I was thereby admitted to passing community college as a 16-year-old. So I was taking night courses with real adults. There's one woman who was a dark-haired Colombian, very beautiful. The first woman I'd ever met whom I knew to be Colombian. I didn't know what that was about at that time. And, I was kicking game at her on a consistent basis. Shorty was probably in her late 20s, early 30s. You heard me? Like low key, twice my age. And then after one course meeting, we went to go get something to eat. She drove. So I'm in the whip with her. After we had eaten, we were sitting in the car and we were having a conversation. Now, mind you, I'd had very little sexual experience. I was a kid, and I was talking to her, and she had said something, about the sexual experience, and then I said, "Well, how does someone make you come?" And she says, "Well, that's not really important." I said, "Oh yeah." And she says, yeah, it's really about the experience. It's not about like, that's just like the end part, or that's like one peak. She was like, but there's a whole experience. And that whole experience is what, sex is about between a man and a woman, enjoying the whole thing. And in her words, and I can quote this to you verbatim, she says, you have to enjoy the whole thing. It's not just about getting a nut off. It's about the whole thing, the foreplay, the intercourse, the even after intercourse, just like that whole experience is what a real woman is trying to enjoy. You dig? Now, for a man, we might just enjoy that nut, or we might just enjoy that process when she bobbing and slobbing. But the point is, for a real woman, that entire connection matters. It's the slores that want to get the nut off. Anytime you're trying to win big, it's worth getting expert advice, because expert advice can save you millions. It can make you millions. And if you're really playing in a serious way, you want to think before you leap. Shout out to Isaiah. He writes, I have my eyes on the prize of creating the money machine. And I've observed that. But it has become the only thing I want to talk about. It get like that. Unfortunately, I have few people I can talk to about it. I find journaling helpful. What do you suggest? I think journaling is phenomenal. I think that you can engage more of the saints in the Discord. And remember, it's the things that we build. We build things to benefit other people. We can also build things that will benefit ourselves. And so when you bring together that mastermind group, that might be something that is helpful to you. Tony writes, if your main woman wanted to get work done on her, is this a red flag? Let's say it's a pink flag. But I tell you what, if you want to know when America, or when the white man started to decline, when the black man started, if you want to track the status of a man, look at his woman and look what she does. All these fake things, these fake objects inserted into their body. You can see if the man allows her to do these things, it's him falling. And then the man is really falling when he starts to do these things. You see, first we allow our women to get all these surgeries, and then we turn into a woman, and then we start getting the surgeries. It's the man who's supposed to be the moral standard. But please know, you're dealing with a woman in this era. There's some things you couldn't tell her not to do. You heard me? Yeah, you tell her not to get them breast implants. Oh, she gonna get them breast implants. Believe that, if that's what her mind is set on. And that's how they are. They're so vain. But is it a red flag? It's a pink flag. It is indeed a pink flag. It's something to keep in mind. But the woman is vain and narcissistic. That's how they actually are. Now, back to female sex drive and promiscuity. First, it's important for us to even understand promiscuity. Like, what's the real definition of it? I actually have it written down. So I'm going to share this with the men and women in attendance. Promiscuity is having romantic involvement with an individual with whom you would not spend the rest of your life with. This is for a female. I repeat, ladies, my definition of you being a 304, you being promiscuous, is as follows. And when I say romantic, I'm not only talking about intercourse, I'm talking about anything that leads up to intercourse. Yes, I mean romantic, inclusive of all of those things. Emotionally engaged, engaged with your attention, engaged with your word, all that. Physical, all that. You are promiscuous, meaning a slore, a 304, if you are having romantic involvement with an individual, which should be a male, with whom you would not spend the remainder of your life with. And let me unpack that for you ladies. Once you find out you wouldn't spend your life with the guy, that's when your involvement with him should end on a romantic level. Yes. So once you realize I couldn't marry this guy, stop sleeping with him, stop with the romantic text. You're now friends or you're strangers. Full stop. The problem is that we have females today who are slores and don't even know it because the culture is so permissive and filthy. We have so many females that are actual slores. Give you an example. You go on Tinder, they have many designations that you can select. You can select looking for long-term, looking for short-term. You could also select both. You can select looking for long-term, open to short-term, or you can select short-term, open to long-term. You could also select just here for fun or figuring it out. Let me warn you, gentlemen, if a woman has publicly stated anything other than looking for long term, she is a slore. 100% undoubtedly. No other way around it. She's a slore. Furthermore, here's the comedy of our human condition. If a woman has stated that she is looking for long term, she still might be a slore, just might be a needy or a lonely slore. Yes, even within that batch of women who say that they are specifically looking for a long-term relationship with a man, they still might be well categorized as promiscuous. But undoubtedly, a female who would select publicly, let everyone know that I'm looking for short term. And not only am I looking for short term, I'm doing it on Tinder. This is a dun da 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 super slore. And the reason we know she's a super slore is because a woman could walk down the street and dudes will pull over while they driving. She'll walk down the street and dudes will make an introduction. She'll go into the doctor's office. The doctor going to shoot his shot. The secretary will shoot the shot. People in the waiting room will shoot their shot. So if she feels the need to go on Tinder, that means she's probably trying to get herself a little bit extra, or she's trying to be selective about her very specific sexual preferences. I want a big, strong nigga to break my back. And that's what you're dealing with. So you have to be deeply concerned about those women who publicly state that they're looking for short term. And then the ones who state that they're looking for long term, open to short term. These women are truly broken. They're thirsty, desperate, and they're not getting anyone who's actually interested in them. So what they're doing is utilizing a strategy saying, hey, I'll deal with whoever's willing to deal with me. And in the process of us sleeping together, if I can get you to like me, then I'll hold on to you, because what I really want is love. But so few men actually value me that I know I can get the intercourse. So I'll settle for that until I can parlay it into something else. And all of us players, super P's, highly desired men, have probably been in a situation at one point where we're dealing with a chick, maxing her out, slaying her and playing her. You dig? Might have been a little bit overweight, or she might not have been the cutest thing, or she might have been cute and slim, but brain dead, something wrong with her. And so we just figured we'd go ahead and give her the book up, and then dip or keep our distance and do it over time. You dig? Only call her on the late night, but she kept on finessing, and she was finessing and caressing and didn't do any stressing. And he was like, you know what? You chill as hell, and you be cooking up some good food. And next thing you know, she done got you in for the long haul. And what happens now? Now you feel guilty. So you just hold on to her out of pure guilt. She done guilt tripped you into a whole relationship, my boy. And the good thing about it on her side is that she's able to maintain her sanity enough that she can stay in that relationship with her claws locked into you, even though in reality, she's actually not good enough for you on many different levels. But here we are. She done finessed her way. And I've seen it and I've heard of it so many times. Women go in with these kinds of plans. And here's the funny thing. You're talking about a situation whereby a woman sees a guy who would look at her and see her only value as sex. And she's able to flip that script and eventually get him to feel bonded with her. It was her plan the whole time. Now, a woman like that, yeah, she probably gonna stick with you. But here's the thing: she's sticking with you because she's been upgraded. You dig? She's been upgraded, so she's sticking with you not only because of who you are, but also because of who she is not. You hear me? She is not the beautiful girl. She is not the girl that's, has everything going for her. Yeah. So yeah, she'd be faithful to you, but she's not the one you really want. And I want to let you guys know, as I say consistently, go for the best in life. Yeah, go for what you really want, because you only get one spin on this earth. And the religious folks say you get another spin in the afterlife. But I've never talked to anybody in the afterlife, so I can't guarantee it. So while you're here, go hard. And I'm not speaking of a philosophy of hedonism like YOLO, which is idiocy. People say YOLO before they do dumb things. I'm saying do something smart, but do it like it's the last time you get to do it. Do it like you're doing it for TV, which is to say, always go for the best and always go hard and look good while you're doing it. Now, speaking of the female promiscuity, there is one particular misunderstanding that we have as men. Maybe some of us have, and maybe some of us have never experienced what I'm about to describe. So dig this. I've mentioned before in the past being used for sex. Some of you might not have ever had that experience being used for sex. It's not, I don't even know that they're using you for good sex. They're just using you for sex. You heard me? And it may be the sexual experience. They might be just enjoying the fuck, or you might be making them bust. You heard me? Or they just like that connection, or they need to get beat down periodically and they've selected you to be their guy. You're the one. And if you're a dude that's fly at any level, there's no way you're going to be getting in a woman's rib on a regular basis and she's not going to fall in love. It's just impossible. It is impossible. I only had one woman in my entire life I was getting in her rib on a regular basis, and she never came out and said, "I love you." And this chick was a cold lesbian though. So you got to factor that in. So I think she had a lot of issues with expressing her feelings in general, especially to men. She was an actual lesbian, but very shapely, good looking woman, honorable woman. I can't even think of any fault that I've ever had with her. Honest, honorable, feminine. You're me, like when she not in character. You dig? When she ain't in character. When you strip her down, take them clothes off, whoo, she's a real woman. You dig? You curvy and all that. And when you stroking her out, man, she reacting just like a female. So when she ain't in character, wearing them bullshit ass clothes, she's a very feminine young lady. But she's the only one that never hit me with the "I love you." Everyone else, yeah, you done got in that rib a couple times. "I love you. I love you." Or they try to be sneaky about it. I even had one psychopath say, "You love me." What? What'd you say? She said, "You love me." Where'd you get that from? What are you talking about? "You love me. I know you love me." And in my head, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, be mature, love. Be mature. Be mature enough just to say how you feel. Don't tell me how I feel, because you don't even believe that. That's why you're stating it. You don't believe that. You just want to say it to me, but you don't feel like I'm going to accept it or take it well. So now you're playing head games. And this is what they often do. They play head games, especially the more twisted they are in the mind. They're playing head games. And what you guys don't realize is that we're in such a extraordinarily sick society that we have levels and levels and levels of sickness that make us think in strange ways and behave in strange ways. One such level of sickness is this right here, the cell phone. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. Your grandparents, your grandmother, she was getting cheated on. It's just that your granddaddy ain't get busted at the rate that we get busted. Why? Because these females have the greatest research tool, this thing right here. So your grandma got cheated on. She's convinced that your granddaddy was a good man who never cheated one time. No, he was definitely cheating, because that's what niggas do. But let me let you guys know something. This tool really gives women a God complex. Yeah, there was recently a strange true crime episode where the woman ended up murdering the guy. It was an interracial couple. It was some dirty, low-class white chick and some super simp, filthy black dude who were together in a relationship. The white chick was an OnlyFans girl, and the black dude was a professional simp, and she ended up killing the ball. What were they arguing about on the day that she killed him? They were arguing about the fact that they wouldn't share each other's location. You know how you can share your location on iMessage or on Google Maps or WhatsApp? Yeah, they were having issues with sharing each other's location. Well, here's the funny thing, love. If I share my location with you or vice versa, if you have a problem, call 911. Don't call me, damn it. Call 911. They can get there faster. They turn on the sirens. They're going to get there faster. This whole share your location concept means I don't trust you. It means I'm trying to be God with an all-seeing eye. It means many things, none of which are good. This thing right here has destroyed our brains. Not only has this destroyed our brains, leisure life has destroyed our brains. We have too much free time. When people have a lot of free time, they end up doing the devil's work. What do we do with our free time? We get a pet. Marquette, what's wrong with the pets, Marquette? It's another obligation. It's not quite a child. It's like a child that you have to take care of it. It's a dog, so it's always happy when it sees you, kind of, right? That's how you interpret it. And so now we have a psychological issue in which we're assigning a personality to one of the lower animals that does not have a personality. I hear people talk to their dogs and say all kinds of idiotic things like, "Oh yeah, Sheila, Sheila gets angry if she doesn't eat on time." What? Who's Sheila? My dog. Why are you naming your dog human names? This is not good, my boy. This is concerning. And this is going to evolve, or shall I say devolve. Next thing you know, you got a blow up doll. People have implanted an AI personality in the blow up doll, or a robotic spouse. And then, we're acting like that's normal when it's not normal. There's some things we need to roll back because we've become so lost, but we don't even know it. Some of you are watching and it hit you hard because you're engaging in these sick behaviors, not knowing that you are suffering mentally. For example, the idea that someone can call you or text you and interrupt you and expect you to respond immediately, as though what you're doing in the present has no meaning, as though the people who are actually in front of you don't deserve your attention. Or how about this? I have a chick like, hey, you take 8 hours to respond to me, or you don't respond. Yeah, that's because you live in Greece, love. You live in goddamn Europe. That's why. Yeah, like I'm in Las Vegas right now and life is good. I'm actually enjoying the present. When do I check my phone? I check my phone when I'm waiting in a line, which is rare. I check my phone when I have downtime and I'm stuck and I can't do anything else. I check my phone when I've exhausted myself from working and I can't work anymore and I need some distraction. I don't check my phone on a regular basis. When you check your phone on a regular basis, that is a sickness within you. I've been sick too, but I got healed. I tell you, when I was sick, I used to work a job that I hated back in the day. Oh, I hated this job. I learned a lot, but I hated it. And when I was working this gig, I used to get very high email volume. I damn near developed a tick. I'm checking my email every 5 minutes, just trying to make sure that they don't stack up. Terrible. That's not the way to live. And how is it that I was doing that for business, but now you guys are in a situation where your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, they've damn near got you checking your text messages, constantly responding on moments' notice as though you're getting paid to do it. Amazing. And we settle for this because the modern society has destroyed human life in a way such that we don't live around our family members anymore. It used to be that you lived in tribes and villages, and in your village, your parents are either in your house with you, your grandparents are in the house with you, or they're next door, down the street. You live in the same village. It's walkable. Your friends are walkable. Now everybody live way over there. They had to go way over there for school, went way over there for college, way over there for their job. And everyone is so disconnected, and we are living in ways that are unnatural. We only get together for the family reunion or for the Thanksgiving or for all of these things. That is not a good life. A good life is living in a simple, natural way. I'd much rather be able to walk outside of my house, take 2 steps to the house next, or not 2 steps, but a few steps to the house next door, knock on the door. Jabrizi, what's good, Brody? You want to go for a jog? You want to get a workout in? I'd rather be able to do that than text my boy and say, hey, bro, you want to get a workout in? Oh, man, I'm over here in LA right now. I have to get at you on the flip. There's good and bad to the modern world. A major part of the bad is you guys end up lonely. You end up dysfunctional. The power dynamics start to shift. Even things like 911 have destroyed us. Marquett, what are you talking about? You don't like emergency services? Damn near I don't. No, I don't. I'll tell you why. 911, when it's typically used, ain't even used for the right purposes. You got moms calling 911 on their own sons. Listen to me. You have wives calling 911 on the husband that they chose to marry. You have 911, which is to say the power of the United States government can be brought to bear in a situation where the government shouldn't be involved. And what happens is the government becomes your father, your disciplinarian, and your husband. So a woman starts to get mouthy because it used to be that she had to show some respect to her husband because he's her protector. Well, now she's like, hey, I don't need to show you respect. I don't need to show you the respect of a protector because I just call 911. Some random men show up and they protect me. They've displaced the husband's position. Or if you're going into poverty, you can go get food stamps and all this assistance. So you don't need no man, as the single mothers say. That's why they got these high taxes and big government. Every male should be anti-big government. Every male should be anti-taxes and socialism. Come on now, we can get into it. Troca writes, I'm a med student. Most of my time is dedicated to uni. Would you recommend uploading to social media as a means of making money? Fitness niche. I'm aware of market saturation, but I'm very knowledgeable. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that you acknowledge market saturation because the market is extraordinarily saturated. You probably, at least based on what you've said so far, won't be successful until you find a specialty because you said fitness niche. What the hell is that, right? Now, I'm challenging you. I hope you are as clever as your degree would suggest, which is to say that you make the big bucks from specializing. You know that as a med student, right? A plastic surgeon is going to make a lot more money than a family doctor or general medicine, right? A surgeon is going to make more money because they're a specialist. Same thing is true in the fitness vertical. What are you specializing in, and why do people trust you? So you just put fitness niche. Well, what precisely are you talking about? That's what matters. So to start with, I don't have high hopes for you. Okay, I'm just keep it real with you out of love. You need to be more precise, or maybe get more experience that can help you whittle this down. Would I knowingly go into a niche that's highly saturated with? Hell nah, not unless I have something that's about to change the game. So for example, right now I'm wearing a short sleeve hoodie and it's pink. You see, it's a short sleeve pink hoodie. That's changing the game. Why? Most hoodies are not hot pink. There's one. Number two, most hoodies are long sleeves. That's called a unique value add, differentiates in the marketplace. Now, if you're a med student, you probably haven't, went through rotations, haven't done a residency, presumably. So you might not have significant experience and knowledge in medicine. Maybe once you do, you can utilize that to bring in, another aspect to your game, which might be very effective. But right now, what you're saying, I recommend a consultation so you can go deeper, because what you're writing right now is too general. It's not going to make any money. There's no real thought behind it. Shout out to Jay the God, a new supporter here. Found you through FNF. I look up to you and Myron. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the compliment. And may many men look up to you, and may you be a great representation of the teachings and the ism. You dig? Jason writes, peace of the saints. What do you think about sex before marriage? I enjoy it. I ain't recommending it, but I'm saying I enjoy it. For women, I think it's generally better that they have limited amounts of sex in general. I think it would be ideal if they had intercourse with one man their whole life. He writes, how do you think God judges us for it? You really have to ask God on that, honestly. If we're talking about, how do I think, you'd have to ask, you'd really want to ask God about that one. I don't think he's going to say anything back, though, if I'm being honest with you. But if you would look in the good books, if you look in the Quran, or you look in the Torah, or you'd look in the Bible, there's very clear instructions on what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to have premarital sex, number one. There are probably a lot of things that we're not supposed to do that people who purport to be believers are doing anyways. So for you, you need to choose your path. But what I can say generally is that I think that in terms of today's world and today's culture, what is most practical, and I think will give you the best chance at success, is cohabitating before you marry and having intercourse before you marry. Because one thing I can tell you for sure, that young lady I described earlier who was 18, 19, that I'd met in Cincinnati when I was in my 20s, early 20s, running a company there. If I had to marry her, she's a gorgeous woman, a fox. If I had to marry her and endure that burden of having intercourse with her in a way that she found pleasing, honestly, I wouldn't want to have intercourse with her anymore. I would probably become adulterous, because it's a burden. It's not a relaxing experience. It's not something that's de-stressing. It's something that is really very pornographic, like porn-like, and it's unpleasant. And so I'm thankful that I was able to try that and decided not to buy that. Thank you for your question, Saint. Jay the God. I guess we can ask Jay if you really need to know, Jason. I'm 28. I'm a nurse, and I'm working on prerequisites for med school. Understood. To apply to dental school. Okay, that was caught me off guard. I want to sign up for a consult with you to get some advice. I highly recommend it. In fact, anyone who wants to do something at a high level, I do recommend it. Whether you talk to me, or you talk to Mark Pfeiffer, or you talk to anyone else, or even someone I don't know, it's worth getting expert advice before you make a move and lose a bunch of money. And to make sure that when you make your next move, it's your best move. Let's not waste time. It's better to be young and rich and beautiful. You dig? Like, look at me. Look at me. When the females see me, they're like, he's attractive and he's wealthy. You see, that's because I'm still young and wrinkle free. You dig? I can still run like the wind. You heard me? I can still blow them backs out. So if you see a beautiful chick with me, you're not gonna be like, oh, she's with him because of the money. He's an old sugar daddy. You're gonna be like, she's with him because he's a boss and he has everything that a woman wants. And when you can accelerate your success, you are wise and you should take every opportunity to accelerate your success. And usually that comes from getting good advice, because as human beings, we only get to live one life. Talk to those who have gone before you. Talk to those who are older, more experienced, who have seen the world turn many times. Via Cash App, Kenneth writes, peace to the saints for this classic live. If you said the wrong thing one day to a main piece and she falls for another man, does it speak more of your poor standing as a man or her whimsical nature? Her whimsical nature, undoubtedly. How realistic is it to resolve to being friends with a former main woman? It is not realistic. What is the female psychology behind a woman that still wants to be friends after you dump her? Either she views you as a great value and wants to hold on to you, or she's angling to see how she can get back into that main girl status. But it's certainly deficit thinking on her part. Women, when they're done with you, they're done. You hear me? It's like they can cut off their emotions in the most amazing ways. Generally, women are not good at compartmentalizing, but you'll find sometimes when they dump you and they think they have something better and they think they're in love with a new guy, oh yeah, they cut you off beautifully. But with regards to a woman who wants to remain friends with you, this is her operating from a deficit. She wants you, or she wants something from you. Know that every time we do things as human beings, there's a self-interest involved. You're not dealing with the motherfucking Mother Teresa out here. You hear me? She's not operating selflessly. Even Mother Teresa wasn't operating selflessly. There has to be some self-interest. And so you need to look underneath the veil to see what is driving her thinking and behavior. I generally don't recommend going backward in life. Shout out to Mr. Chapman, comes in by PayPal, supporting the work. Appreciate you. I may acknowledge Hinon, who just went on MDB. Actually, went on Sasson brand and copped a tank. Shout out to the real ones. And I also acknowledge Jonathan. He writes, too much game, tuition, peace to the saints. Indeed. And I hope that if you gather nothing from my teachings, you would gather at least this one thing, which is to question, to appropriately question. Yes. Question, why? Question, does that make sense? Question, why is that? Question, what do you mean by that? Question it. You'll find often those who are truly fools, they can't answer any of the questions because they're living based on assumptions. Now, granted, a fool can ask more questions than 1,000 wise men can answer. But if your supposed wise man can't answer the first question or the second question, they might actually be a fool. You dig? Altitude writes, thankful for the Sasson. Pleasure meeting you last Sunday. Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure linking up with good people. And we, again, will have Sunday service. All of the members, we welcome you to come in fellowship with us in person. Ken writes, sent both questions. Okay, got it. Thank you very much, Ken. Nick writes, thankful for you and the Sasson family indeed. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to the captain out here. And shout out to Johan. He just got the Master Communicator course. Now back to female sex drive and promiscuity. We often think of female promiscuity to mean a number of things. I had one misunderstanding on female promiscuity when I was shall we say, not experienced enough. I used to think that a woman having a high sex drive meant that she was promiscuous. And a major component of promiscuity is that they're indiscriminate or they're sleeping with multiple guys at once. You see, a female should be monogamous. A mentally healthy female, that's a monogamous female. She has one man. She goes to one man to satisfy her. I experienced a woman with I've experienced many women with very high sex drives, but I've experienced one that was attractive enough that I could deal with her for, more than a couple occasions. She was very attractive, had a very high sex drive, and was always banging my line so that I could bang her line, if you get me. And, honestly, it was taxing because I'm a busy man and I can't ever sacrifice my business affairs to go have an affair. You dig? But anyways, what I realized with her is that the reason she was reaching out to me so frequently is because I was the only man she's reaching out to. She's 100% loyal and faithful to me as the one guy that she's dealing with on a physical level. To me, it was burdensome. But what I learned is that Every woman with a high sex drive is not promiscuous. She might need it a lot in her life, but she's not going to go get it anywhere. She also had some inclinations that are, not quite my taste. Always loves to have your hands on her, and also is not quite as private as I am. See, I'm a private man. You heard me? Like, I'm not trying to be doing PDA and all this extra stuff. But when we understand the female sex drive and the nature of the female as a sexual animal, we come to find a couple of things that are quite curious. The female's sexual experience is deeply wrapped in her psychology. For example, I can assure you, if I'm dealing with a female and I'm trying to get a nut off, that nut is going to get off 99.9% of the time. There are very few things that can stop that nut from coming. The nut is coming. Sometimes it comes before we want it to come. It's going to come. With a female, you might have a female that you're digging out and she always orgasms. Let you guys have an argument, or let her feel like you put her down, or you said something to her that devalued her, or one of their favorite terms, you were condescending or something like that, or you made fun of her in some way, whether maliciously or non-maliciously. Then all of a sudden you're maxing her out. It's going to be hard for her to get that nut off. You all of a sudden you put in that extra work. You're like, come on now. Come on, you pulling out all the stops. Nah, she ain't about the nut. And you doing everything right. You're like, hell, I've done this before. I done made your nut many times. Come on now. And it's not working. And you're trying to figure out, like, why is this not working? Well, it's not working because she's in her head, not in her body. Listen to some real playerism. At that point, she's in her head. She's not in her body. You poking in her body, you heard me? But you ain't made love to her mind in the right way. As a result, she's not going to catch that nut. Yeah. And the funny thing is, sometimes chicks will mess up their own mojo. You dig? They start a problem with you, and then it stays in their mind, and they can't even get in the proper state of relaxation, confidence, and feeling desire such that they can enjoy themselves physically. It get like that. So the female is a deeply psychological creature, and that should let you know if for some weird reason your goal is to make her orgasm, if she's not in the right mental space, she ain't gonna orgasm. I can promise you that one. I've had situations with one young lady in particular I'm thinking of. Nice young lady, very nice young lady, good looking girl. And, she used to like to enjoy herself. And I mean that in every sense of the word. She's a very social, outgoing extrovert, always loves to go out and be on the scene, loves to hit the clubs or whatever event is going on in the city. But when she done with the event, she called daddy and she trying to get her back blued out. When she got it off, it was very clear, like, okay, yeah, you got that off. Yes, indeed. And every time, and then one time she watched a video, watched one of my videos, and then she has sent me a mean text message. This is what they do. They attack you. They're malicious. They become malicious and vindictive very easily. And this is one of the differences between a child, a woman, and a real man. Real men, we're rational, we're thinkers. They, let their emotions get engaged. All bets are off. They will betray you. Funny thing, I've seen situations on true crime, true stories, documentaries where a woman was in that questioning room. Her husband had done something heinous, illegal, murder. And she was ready to stick by his side until the detective said, hey, he's cheating on you, right? He's been two-timing you, right? And she says, what? Say what? Say what? Cheating? They're like, yeah, he's cheating on you. Oh, and by the way, in case you all did not know, yes, the police are allowed to legally lie to you. Yes, the police can legally lie to you. They cannot lie about what your rights are or your rights are not. They're not required to elaborate on certain rights as they are not lawyers, but they are legally permitted to lie to you. So he told this woman a lie. And with that lie, she went ahead and dimed out her husband and had him spend the rest of his life in prison for something he actually didn't do. Not referring to the murder, referring to the cheating. Yeah, the boy was willing to murder, but he wasn't willing to cheat. He did not cheat on her, and she basically gave him up to the feds. Tragic. You need the kind of woman to where she gonna stick with you regardless because she understands the actual nature of men and the differences in female promiscuity and male promiscuity, female nature and male nature. I was blessed to see a video earlier today of a woman who understood it well and understood it perfectly. They said, would you Would you stand by your man if he cheated on you? She said, yeah, for sure. Yeah. My husband. Yeah, absolutely. So why is that? She said, because that's a man's nature. They like to go, go do a little extra every now and then. And he said, well, what if a woman cheats? Should a man stand by her? She was like, hell nah. She's a dirtbag. She didn't say dirtbag. She says, she said something else. I forget what it was. She said, because women cheat with their emotions. Men cheat for the sex. And let me put this in better language since I'm Marquett Burton. Men cheat with their penis. Women cheat with their heart. Listen, a man cheats with his penis. A woman cheats with her heart. You put your penis in, pull it right back out. Clean it off, we're good to go. Women are giving away pieces of their heart, giving it away. It's different, very different. It's dangerous, in fact. Yes. The emotions of a woman are powerful. If you remember at patreon.com/the saint in the center, I believe I have a video. I think it's called You Have to Be Her Superman and Celebrity. It tells about a young lady that I was involved with on the East Coast. She got my name tattooed on her, big, very large, right next to her vagina, like on her inner hip. My name, very large, such that any man who would unwrap her would have to see the name Marquett Burton like a brand. And that was before I smashed. You dig? That's before I smashed. Because as I told you all earlier, it's not always about how you make love to the body. You have to make love to the mind. You hear me? And when you can make love to the mind, nothing else matters. You hear a lot of imbeciles. This is how you know they have no game. The ism is not within them when they say stupid things like, oh, you just need to beat that up. Once you dickmatize her. No, my boy, you can't dickmatize them. There's always somebody else that could sex her better. And broke people, they hobosexual. Yeah, them broke boys, they know how to lay it down, man. They got time too. I make love like a wealthy man. You hear me? Yeah, there's some chicks I only give them one position. That's it. One position. We ain't switching positions. We're going to be in this one position. Just be happy that I'm in there. You dig? Be happy I'm in there because I got a lot of other things I need to do. So go ahead and take out this 10 minutes and do what you do, baby. And when it's all over, make sure that cloth is hot. That, when you put that cloth under that water is hot water. Bring it back, clean my mans off, and let me sleep for a little bit, okay? And don't disturb me while I'm trying to sleep. You heard me? Like, don't cuddle too much. If we don't find a comfortable position, stay on that side. Okay. I need my sleep. My sleep is precious. And that's what real women need to understand about real men. You heard me? Like, I got to get quality sleep because when I wake up, I got to be up. You heard me? And I got a whole world to conquer. Playing around and shit, playing footsies while I'm trying to sleep out here. Anyways, Jay the God writes, where can I go for a consultation? You can go to thesassin.com, THESASN.com. And if you go to thesassin.com, at the bottom, there's a link highlighted in red. It should say schedule consultation in the bottom left corner. And you can use that to book a consultation at a date and time of your choosing. May I acknowledge via PayPal? Shout out to Vilkin. It's been a little while. He writes, peace to the saints. I just want to say that I'm truly thankful for you and the Florida Assassin, especially St. Kevin, giving me the confidence skills to increase my gym sales. It's a beautiful thing. Now the owner has high favor for me and there's a possible promotion. That's a beautiful thing. And as I always say, be good to good people, be around good people, and you see it pays dividends. I remind you all that being around smart people is like reading books. Why? Because when intelligent, wise men speak, they speak of knowledge. Is knowledge not what you seek in a book? Come on now. Justice writes, tuition, great topic. I appreciate you. Shout out to Justice, a gentleman I had the pleasure of meeting at one of my conferences that I've hosted. Shout out to Excel supporting the work as well. Carrying on. Now, one thing I must concede is that though a woman might not orgasm, they do want that passion involved, generally speaking. They want that passion. They want to get that feeling from you that they are highly desired, that you want them. And everything in that experience, you're conveying things to them. And so do try to put in some amount of effort when you can. Like, I've definitely been guilty of you're be just, laying back, looking a little bit too cool during the experience. Young lady says, where's the passion? And she not even saying, why ain't you wrecking it? She ain't saying, why ain't you making me orgasm? She's just saying, are you paying attention to me? Are you engaged? And with women, attention and engagement is a huge thing. You see? And in my case, sometimes I might even be talking to a chick. I ain't even making eye contact with her. You heard me? I'm doing 10 things at once. She should just be happy to be around. But when you lay down with the woman, engage her with some passion if she matters. If she matters, let her know she matters. These psychological things are critically important. Huh? And I do want to dispel a myth that is often coming up, which is about male phallus size. I don't believe that women truly care about this unless you have an extraordinarily insufficient uh, penis, which I suppose happens to some folks. Unless it's like extraordinarily insufficient, I don't think they really care unless they are a slore and a pervert. And a slore and a pervert has to have experience to know about certain things on the marketplace. I'll give you an example. There's one time I was out with a partner of mine. We were actually at a resort and we see two chicks. One of them was bad, pure flame, pure flame. And her friend was very attractive as well. It was like, if you get either one, you're like, look, it's a win. It's a win either way. So my boy walks up, he hollers at one, I holler at the other one off some wingman ish, you dig? And I ain't even really tripping. I'm just there to show support, make sure that, he can get in where he needs to get in. Let me keep Shorty distracted. I ain't even trying to break a sweat, you dig? Anyways, he's like, what are you guys about to do? They're like, we're not about to do much. He's like, okay, well, we're about to go eat. Why don't you two come along? They're like, all right, for sure. So we go eat. And then the night goes on from there. We do a little bit of this and that in Vegas in terms of social activities. And then it was time to, pull that divide and conquer. So we go ahead and split them like the sea and the Red Sea, that is. We go ahead and split them. I take mine, he takes his. I don't think he ended up closing that deal that night. His was putting up a fight and a fuss. Mine was, she was down for the hammer time, you dig? And so I was too legit to quit. By the way, only the older folks got what I just said. You dig? It was even older than my generation. But, if you really gamed up, you understood what I just said. Shout out to the bars. Anyways, I gave her that hammer time. She said I was too legit to quit. So I did it twice. And then there was another time she had came to kick it and come hang out. And I was with her and another girl. You guys talk about double dates, but you ain't never did the players version of a double date. See, I double scheduled these girls. I mentioned this one time before. I double scheduled these shorties and they both showed up. Chicks are flaky, so I usually double schedule. They both showed up, so I took them both out to dinner. Then after that, took them both up to the suite. I actually did a live session with both of them. If you remember at patreon.com/the center, you can see that live session. Anyways, after that, I had a massage room in the suite. So I went into the massage room. They both massaging me, one recording it. And then, then they both start massaging. Then after that, we got into some other things. But before that, we were having a conversation. I think she had said this on live. When she was one of them, the dark hair one, was talking about how she likes to get, worn out. And she was like, I like to get, her words exactly, I like to get wrecked. She means wrecked, like a wrecking ball, like smashed, destroyed. You heard me? Like max her out till she look ugly. You dig? Tear her down, slam her into this pile driver. She want to be filled up. And, a chick like that, she's the kind of female that she's had a lot of experience. So she knows precisely what she wants. And what she wants, there's some significant requirements in terms of pleasing her. Obviously, I was making the cut, you did, because she didn't showed up for the encore. So obviously, I was doing my thing. But I'm not big into that. You feel me? Like I might do my thing. It don't have anything to do with her. It depends on what was going on in my life at the time. You dig? Like, it depends on what kind of mood I was in. You heard me? She catch me in the wrong mood, I'm taking out all my stress on her. If she happens to enjoy that, good for her. But the point is, this particular girl, she said she liked to be wrecked. She liked to be destroyed. She liked to be filled up. So she needs significant girth. This is the kind of woman that you're not going to stay with anyways. So if you couldn't please her, it doesn't matter because she's a slore. You heard me? And if you did please her, good for you. But you got a tall order every time. You can't never just have normal intercourse. You heard me? You can't never just tell her, hey, baby, hop up. I'm stressed out, and I got a meeting in a little bit. Hop up on this, man. Put me in a relaxed state so I could go do what I got to do and deal with these rascals. Nah, it always got to be pound me and pick me up and slam me on the wall and choke me harder, go deeper. It always got to be that because that's her actual definition of a good time. You heard me? There's never any tenderness. No, there's no such thing as making love. It's we're fucking. And I've actually heard multiple chicks say that before. One in particular had told me that she was like, "Don't make love to me, fuck me." I was like, all right, if that's how you feel, you dig? If that's how you feel, and that lets you know a lot about a woman and her nature. But I'll let you guys in on a secret. All of them like to be railed, bruh. Sadly, all of them like to be just thugged out. Yeah, certainly there many of them they want you to be able to make love and be passionate, but I don't think I've ever experienced any of them that never like to get pile drived. Even the ones that like you to be tender, every now and then they want you to pile drive them. You dig? So it get like that, but you want to find you something that's like, more on the low key side or more in the middle range to where she got a chill button. When they ain't got no chill button, man, you signing up for a lot of work and it's going to be unpleasant. Just imagine one of the natural pleasures that God is giving you. She's turned that into a burden. She's turned that into work. And some women can do stuff like that. You dig? My Asian rotation is strong right now. Just nobody asked, but it's strong right now. I don't know why, but it's spiritual. Anyways, carrying on. Carrying on. Shout out to 10K writes, how do you do that? Make love to her. Well, that's a big question. To where she felt she needed a tattoo of your name before you even smashed. Any specific video on this topic? Yeah, there's actually a video on this topic. Nice young lady too. And in your experiences, you learn so much about yourself. It's funny how even a beautiful woman, a gorgeous woman, you can get tired of smashing if her attitude ain't right. You dig? That's a crazy thing to me. It's like there's some chicks you just think you would never get tired of maxing them out, but you actually do. And I was at my other spot where I used to have my old studio. I remember this as clear as day. So definitely send me a message on IG and I'll get that over to you. I tell the whole story there. It writes question in the chat. So let's see what we got from Excel. My main chick has this inclination to get a nut off during intercourse. I don't like that. Now some of you guys are like super into sex. Now that means you got the heart more of a trick than a pimp. You dig? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with intercourse. I enjoy it and I enjoy stamping my flag. You dig? But I'm not like big into sex like that. He writes, this tends to become a burden sometimes as I consider myself to be vanilla in bed. Me too, bruh. Me too. You ain't never lied, baby. Just put that in doggy style. Let me work it out. Should I express this with her? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with expressing it. Because if you say she's your main chick, if you guys are in a long-term committed relationship, at least committed on her side, then, you want to make things more comfortable. But I want you to know this. This is the truth of the matter. You can express it. She can even make adjustments. But know this. You're not meeting the mark of where she wants you to be. And that's the real problem for you, Saint. You see, check this out. Say baby girl, every time she gets smashed, she needs a 9 performance for her to be satisfied. She needs a 9, right? She needs you to really max her out. And you tell her, hey, love, I ain't got time like that. And I ain't got energy like that. Not every time. I need to more so be around like a 6.5 performance. She's like, okay, I understand. And she intellectually and mentally does understand. But what happens is every time you max her out and you're doing a 6.5 and she wants a 9, then you're leaving her unsatisfied. So yeah, you could tell her and she might even be like, okay, I understand. And she might ease up on it, but those are things that are probably not going to make you the most comfortable. And that's why I like my main piece that I'm really sticking with, to have a modest sex drive. I got a number of women who, they never initiate sex. They will never, you be around them for 10 years. They ain't going to pop it off not one time. But if you wanted to pop it off 10 times in an hour, they'll let you. They're going to let you do what you want to do, but they ain't going to never kick it off. Very feminine women. They just there for the taking. You dig? That's kind of how I like mine. Low key, going to take what they get and appreciate it. There are effeminate males who claim that a woman's body count doesn't matter. Oh, it matters. And it matters for a number of reasons. Sometimes women will say, oh, you're insecure. Often it's not true. Sometimes it is true. And you know what? That's okay. You see, women suggest that there's something wrong with a man being insecure or not liking certain things. No, it's okay. Yeah, no, a guy can be insecure, just like a woman can be insecure. I don't think guys like the concept that, they're dealing with a woman who's been with another guy and done everything in the book. I don't think guys like that. I'll tell you one thing I don't like, and I'm comfortable not liking this and letting it be known that I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like the idea that you can't show a woman anything new. You feel me? Like, don't you want to be able to do a trick that she ain't seen before? You dig what I'm saying? Like, one thing I like as a boss is, when a chick comes into Vegas in the same city, she's in my city. You heard me? And being that she's never been to my city before, but I know the city, I got the keys to the city. I know I can take her places that she's never been to. I can give her an experience she could never have on her own, even if she's been in the city for 10 years. There's places she can't get into unless I bring her in there. You dig? There's sights, there are views, there are suites she didn't know existed. There's a life I can introduce her to. And there's nothing like having a first time experience with someone. We call that virginity. There's nothing like having that first memorable experience. It leaves you as a part of that woman's memory. Yeah, there are some chicks on this planet Earth, they can't come to Vegas without thinking of the big homie. Matter of fact, they probably don't even like coming to Vegas no more because it ain't the same without the big homie. And that's a powerful experience for a man. Men like to be teachers of women. We like to show women things, introduce them to new things. When you're dealing with a woman with a high body count and you think you done pulled off something new, you stroking baby out, you done got into the spider monkey position. You did. You're like, look here, bitch. I know you heard of doggy style. You might even heard of froggy style, but you ain't never, and I mean never, in your rabbit ass life got beat down in the spider monkey, and you trying to spider monkey this bitch, and she's over here like, nah, nigga, I didn't did the spider monkey. This ain't I've done this spider. You're like, bitch, you done everything. Goddamn, I thought I was doing something. Then you pick her up and you give her to Melvin off a Baby Boy. You think you really in them guts. You're like, yeah, nigga ain't never picked you up, huh? Because she tall and thick. You dig? She tall and thick. She about 6'1". She weigh a cool ass 270. You heard me? Thick, solid, beautifully shaped. You done got her up. You wolving her. You dig? Yeah, you maxing her out. You're like, yeah, ain't nobody ever picked your tall ass up like this, blowing you out like this. You're like, no, actually, yeah, my ex-boyfriend used to play basketball here. He used to pick me up too. You're like, goddamn, bitch. Bitch, you didn't seen it all, you didn't done it all. And that's what happened when they get to 100 bodies. You dig? When they get to 20 bodies, they didn't seen it all and done it all. Ain't nothing you can do or say, my dear boy. So just understand that that's what it is when you're dealing with all them damn bodies, man. The chick is a killer. She's a serial killer. She didn't caught all the bodies. 10K writes, I don't have Instagram. Can I email your Gmail? Floating at the bottom of the screen. Absolutely. Yeah. Just say, hey, Marquett. I'm a member on whatever site you're on, whether it's the Assassin, Marquettism, or Patreon. Hey, I'm a member on this site. I'm writing about the video that you made about the chick who got the tattoo of you, of your name. And then we'll send it to you on the member site that you're a part of. Because obviously, if you're a member on Patreon, we're not going to send a Marquettism link. So let us know so we can send you the correct link. Thank you for that. Yeah, man. So stand away from those chicks that got all them bodies. That would be wise on your part, because it's not about being insecure. It's just about you not being able to have as much fun and show her something new and let her learn her body with you. You dig? Let you guys grow together. You can't have that. And then there is a reality of some of you guys will be insecure, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's human. That's human, right? I remember one time, and this is a true story. It's an unfortunate story, but it's a true story. You dig? I've only ever had 2 chicks in my entire life where I was like, this cat is garbage. Like, I'd be better off not even hitting this, right? Like, what kind of man is like, I would rather not have vagina than have your vagina. That's bad, right? Only 2 times in life. Now, here's the tragedy. One of the times, this girl was gorgeous. So mind you, I've been the man my whole life. Side note, just keeping it real out here. So when I was in middle school in the 8th grade, I was the man, and I had a lot of broads on me. And so I had to like curve some of them to the side. There's this one girl, she was an underclassman. I was in the 8th grade. She was in the 7th grade, little mixed ting, green eyes, nice long, light brown hair, curly, very pretty little thing. She used to be on me tough. Like, shorty had pictures of me. She used to walk around with pictures of me on her. It was crazy. She was on me like in a real obsessive way. But I wouldn't mess with her for a variety of reasons. One of which is she was an underclassman. When you're young, you don't know anything. So when I was an underclassman at age like 13, I wouldn't mess with her. And then I mess around and see her again when I was, I think, like 21, 22. At this point, baby girl then grew up and blossomed even more. She was gorgeous when I saw her in middle school. At that time, she was gorgeous. Now she's gorgeous with the body. Word, word. That's crazy. And has some nice big lips on her too. Woo. I'm telling you, a pale little ting. Beautiful eyes, light brown curly hair, big lips, and the adult body now. It was woo-wee. So when I saw her and she saw me, it was instantly that look of like, yes. Like my look was like, yes. Her look was like, yes. But hers was like a look of yearning, like, it's been 10 years. I've been waiting. Yes, let's go. And so anyways, I walk up on her. Here's the funny thing. I didn't recognize her. You did? Because when we were in middle school, I wasn't friends with her. I was the cool kid that she admired. And a lot of her homegirls, I came up like, hey, so-and-so likes you. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Look out. So I never knew her like that to where I would have recognized her, even remembered her name. And then so I went up to her and started hollering at her off some player shit, just the way I usually do. So I walk up on the little broad, I'm kicking game at her, and she's smiling and she starts laughing. And I was like, yo, what's up? She's like, you don't even remember me. I was like, nah, like that's because I don't know you. She was like, no, you do know me. I was like, nah, I don't know you. She's like, for sure you know me. I was like, shorty, let me tell you something. I don't know if you didn't see the mirror this morning. You fine as hell. If I would have met you ever in life, I would remember. I bet my life on that. I've never met you. I promise you. Because if I'd have met you before, you'd probably be with me right now. You fine as hell. I ain't never met you. She was like, no, actually, we went to Elliott together. And when she said Elliott, I was like, oh shit. She's like, yeah. You were in the 8th grade. I was in the 7th grade, and I really liked you. I had a big crush on you. My friends used to come and tell you I had your pictures, and you wouldn't mess with me. I was like, I remember you now. You look a little different. She's like, yeah, of course I do. She was like, so you like me now? I was like, no, I don't like you. I like the way you look right now. I still got to see what's up with you. She was like, okay. She's like, well, I got a man now. I was like, I'm not surprised. She's like, but take my number, though. So I take her number, shoot her a text message. Yo, it's Quet. That's it. She hit me back, trying to link up. I tell her, all right, for sure. Now, mind you, I was home from college. I ain't even have my own spot. I had to get a telly. And I forget, I can't remember. I think she might even pay for the telly. I can't remember how that went down, but I want to say she paid for the telly. I can't remember that part. I tell you what I do remember, which was very disturbing. Anyways, she basically was off of that. Like, look, Marquette, I'm not a dirt bag. It's just that I loved you my whole life. I loved you from the moment I saw you. I was obsessed with you all in middle school, and I've always wanted you. And now I got a man, and you don't even live here. Fuck it, let's just meet up. Let's do what we do. Don't hit me up after that. I'm not gonna hit you up after that. It's just gonna be what it is. So I was like, bet. So we got the spot set up. I go through to the spot. She drive over, meet me there. She come in, we get right after it, right? Boom, 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 doing our thing. And we keeping it gangster because she already told me she got a man, right? But she was so bad that I had to. And honestly, it's not even my thing. It's not about me not wanting to be immoral. It's not only about that. It's more so about I find it disgusting to put my penis where some other dude has put his penis. That makes me want to throw up. That makes me want to throw up. Now, mind you, in your early 20s, the level of sexual hormones you got is otherworldly. You heard me? So that was an evil time in life. You dig? So I went ahead and stroked this broad out. And of course you strap up in a situation like this. So I strap up, I stroked her out. And at the end, I'm looking at her after I done got off. I'm like, damn, she fine as hell, but that cat was garbage. Like that was like literally at that point in my life, it was the worst cat I'd ever had. And I just didn't comprehend. I was like, why was that the worst cat I've ever had in life? Like I was sitting there mind boggled, like staring off into space, like trying to do the math on how that happened. How you be that fine and have garbage cat? Is that like God trying to balance out the universe or some shit? I was like, that was weird as hell. Anyway, so we're laying there, and then her phone rang. And let me tell you how much this was back in the day, or maybe she's just a broke bitch. I can't remember, but her phone rings, and like on them flip phones, motherfuckers used to have a razor. I don't know if you guys remember that shit. It used to be called a razor. It was a flip phone. I never had one, but motherfuckers used to have a razor flip phone. I used to have some player shit always, man, because I was hustling. But she pulled out her flip phone, and on the outside, they had two screens. There's a screen on the outside, and then when you flip it, obviously there's a screen on the inside. The outside screen, women, they always doing extra shit. They got ringtones and, unnecessary stuff. So she assigned a photo to this particular caller. And, so the phone rings and she picks up the phone. And I'm looking at the phone, not even trying to be nosy, just because, we in bed, butt ass naked. And she just grabbed the phone and she hold it up to see who it is. And so I just happened to look, and I'm looking, I was like, the fuck? She has her man. It's her man is calling, but she has a picture of his meat on the fucking phone. I was like, and in my head, I was like, God damn, like in my head, instantly, I was like, God damn, this bitch is a fucking like super slut. Like, God, she's went overboard with her horrific credentials are extraordinary. Like, this bitch is a super slut. She has a dick as a goddamn profile photo on her phone. Now, that was the initial disturbing part, right? Because I'm like, this bitch is a gutter ass hoe, because she might be out with her mom, out with her home girl in a professional setting, and a nigga dick pic is popping up when he calls. Like, that's crazy as hell, number one. And then number two, I was like, pause, no homo, but I was looking at the nigga meat, like, just shit caught me off guard when it came up. You heard me? I wasn't staring. As soon as I saw this shit, I was like, hell nah. But then I was like, no wonder the bitch cat is garbage. I was like, the nigga meat is like 9 niggas meat is like 9 meats. What kind of shit is this? White chick who was 6'3", she was a polo player, skinny as a rail. Cat was amazing. Like, I'd be having flashbacks every now and then. It was extraordinary. It was one of them ones, as soon as you go in there, it's like, say your penis is a submarine, right? As soon as you sink that motherfucker into that little, she ain't even have an ocean, she had a pond, nigga. As soon as you sink that submarine into the pond, Houston, we have a problem. It's like you about to bust immediately, nigga. All the red lights is flashing. It's like, we're going down. We're going down. Like, as soon as you get in there, you're like, no, man. She used to take me out ASAP, boy, and she ain't even trip. You heard me? I get in there, go out ASAP, and then she just wrapped them long ass skinny legs around me and rub my chest till I go to sleep. Then I wake up and do it again, go out quick as hell, and she just go through the same process, put them skinny legs around me and just rub my chest. Feminine little blonde ting. You heard me? Yes, indeed. But hey, man, this is the life of a super P, man. This is the life of a super P. Not many can speak to it because very few do it. Shout out to Mr. Ledette. He just scheduled his consultation. So we're going to see him on, looks like, Tuesday. All right, I'm looking forward to it. And he made some notes on what he wants to talk about. Okay, great. That seems like a really good idea. I'm excited to talk about that. And you can use marquettism.com or thesassin.com to book. Looks like Ken P came back with another one. He writes, made the mistake of over-promising and under-delivering, bruh. My standing / respect is at stake with important members of my family, friends, and some women. Good Lord. What is the best move to make? 1, try to still deliver if you can. Try to deliver at or above the level. And if you know it's not possible, be honest. Straight away, be honest. That's all I can say with the information that you've given me. If you need to schedule consultation, we can talk more about it. But with the information you've given me, it sounds like just being honest and letting them know, like, hey, I overpromised, and I want to tell you right now, as I've now figured out, I can't deliver at this level. And I just want to do the honorable thing of letting you know so that you don't think I was lying. I was overly optimistic. Now I know what it is. I'm telling you what it is. Shout out to Vilkin via PayPal. He writes, Marquette, I'm not going to lie. Working at this new gym job, there's thick wagon everywhere. This one light-skinned member is giving me the eyes. I think I know the answer, but I have to ask, is there any way to max them out on some friends with benefits and still be cool after without awkward avoidance? Yeah, for sure. But that largely depends on her personality, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, if she either you can do the friends and benefits thing, and if she's a dirtbag or a scallywag, it's going to be all good, Or if you know how to go ahead and marinate that fish right, and then, she's submissive and you tell her what the program is, she's going to follow the program. You dig? But hey, sometimes you need it in your life.